Our planet has been studied for thousands of years. Satellites scan every corner of Earth. Scientists drill miles beneath the surface, dive into the deepest oceans, and map the sky with extreme precision. And yet, despite all this knowledge, there are places on Earth that continue to defy explanation. Locations where science has no final answers, only theories. These are places that challenge physics, confuse geologists, and leave researchers quietly admitting, we don't fully understand this yet. Today, you're about to explore 5 such places, real locations on our planet that remain unexplained, mysterious, and deeply unsettling. As you watch, remember this: if science still can't explain these places, what else might the Earth be hiding?
Place 1. The Bermuda Triangle, the mystery that refuses to die. Stretching roughly between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico lies one of the most infamous regions on Earth, the Bermuda Triangle. For decades, ships have vanished here without distress signals, planes have disappeared from radar, and navigational instruments have reportedly failed without warning. While some dismiss the Bermuda Triangle as exaggerated myth, the truth is more complicated. Historical records confirm that numerous vessels and aircraft have indeed been lost in this region under strange circumstances. What makes the mystery unsettling is that some disappearances occurred in calm weather, with experienced crews and no clear mechanical failure. Scientists have proposed many explanations, including sudden methane gas eruptions from the ocean floor that could reduce water density and cause ships to sink rapidly. Others suggest rogue waves, massive walls of water that appear suddenly and can destroy even large ships. There are also theories involving unusual magnetic anomalies that might interfere with navigation systems. However, none of these explanations fully account for all recorded incidents. Some aircraft vanished mid-flight without debris, some ships were found abandoned with no signs of struggle, and some events defy logical timelines entirely. Modern tracking technology has reduced incidents, but it hasn't erased the mystery. Even today, pilots report strange compass behavior in the area, and researchers still debate whether natural forces alone can explain everything that has happened there. The Bermuda Triangle remains a place where data exists, but certainty does not. It is a reminder that even well-traveled parts of the world can hold secrets beyond our understanding. Place 2. The Moving Stones of Death Valley. In California's Death Valley lies a flat, dry lake bed called Racetrack Playa. At first glance, it looks ordinary, just cracked earth and scattered rocks. But look closer, and you'll see something deeply strange. Large stones, some weighing hundreds of kilograms, have moved across the ground on their own, leaving long trails behind them. No footprints, no drag marks, no visible force. For decades, scientists were baffled by this phenomenon. Early theories ranged from strong winds to magnetic forces to even supernatural explanations. The problem was that no one had ever seen the stones move. They only noticed the trails after the fact. The mystery persisted for nearly a century until modern technology finally captured part of the answer. Researchers discovered that during rare winter conditions, thin sheets of ice form beneath the stones. When temperatures rise slightly, the ice cracks and strong winds push the stones slowly across the surface. However, here's where the mystery still remains. Not all stone movements match these conditions. Some trails show sudden direction changes. Others occur when wind speeds seem insufficient, and some stones move while others nearby remain perfectly still. Even with cameras and GPS trackers, scientists admit they don't fully understand why certain stones move the way they do. The phenomenon is partially explained, but not completely. Nature, once again, gives us an answer with an asterisk.
Place 3. The Blood Falls of Antarctica.
Deep in the frozen wilderness of Antarctica, where almost nothing lives, a waterfall pours from a glacier, but instead of clear water, it flows blood red. This eerie phenomenon is known as blood falls. First discovered in 1911, it horrified early explorers who believed it might be caused by algae or unknown organisms. The vivid red color looks disturbingly like fresh blood against the white ice. Scientists eventually discovered that the water contains extremely high levels of iron, which oxidizes when it reaches the surface, turning the water red, much like rust. But this explanation only opens the door to even bigger mysteries. The water comes from a sealed subglacial lake that has been trapped beneath ice for millions of years, completely cut off from sunlight and oxygen. Yet within this lake exists a living ecosystem of microbes that survive in conditions previously thought impossible. These microbes don't rely on sunlight or oxygen. Instead, they use chemical reactions involving iron and sulfur to generate energy. This challenges fundamental assumptions about where life can exist and raises questions about the possibility of life on other planets, such as Mars or Europa. Scientists understand what blood falls is, but they still don't fully understand how such life evolved or survived for so long in total isolation. Blood falls is not just a geological mystery, it's a biological one that forces us to rethink life itself.
Place 4. The zone of silence, where signals die. In northern Mexico lies a desert region known as the Zone of Silence. Radio signals fail here, GPS devices malfunction, compasses behave unpredictably. For reasons still unclear, communication equipment often stops working entirely. The area gained global attention in the 1970s when a U.S. missile accidentally landed there, drawn off course by unknown interference. Scientists have suggested high concentrations of magnetite in the soil as a possible cause, which could disrupt electromagnetic signals. Others point to unusual ionospheric conditions or underground mineral deposits. However, extensive testing has never produced a complete explanation. Some radio signals pass through unaffected, while others fail instantly. The inconsistency is what makes the phenomenon so difficult to explain. Adding to the mystery are strange reports from locals and travelers who claim to see unusual lights in the sky, sudden weather changes, and even disorientation when walking through the area. While these accounts are anecdotal, they contribute to the zone's unsettling reputation. Despite decades of research, the Zone of Silence remains unpredictable. It is one of the few places on Earth where modern communication, something we rely on completely, can suddenly vanish without warning.
Place 5. The Richat structure, the Eye of the Sahara. From space, the Richat structure in Mauritania looks like a massive eye staring back at the universe. This enormous circular formation is nearly 50 kilometers wide and was initially believed to be the result of a meteor impact. But no shock minerals, no impact debris, and no clear crater structure were ever found. That theory was abandoned. Geologists now believe the structure formed through a complex process of erosion and geological uplift over millions of years. But here's the problem. Formations of this scale and symmetry are extremely rare, and no other known structure forms in quite the same way. The Richat structure contains rock layers of vastly different ages, arranged in perfect concentric rings. Some layers are over 500 million years old. What truly puzzles scientists is why erosion shaped it so evenly, and why the underlying forces created such a near-perfect circle. Even with advanced geological models, researchers cannot fully replicate its formation. It remains an anomaly, visible from space, studied on the ground, and still not fully understood. The Eye of the Sahara is proof that Earth can produce structures that appear almost artificial,
even when they are entirely natural.
These places aren't just curiosities. They remind us of something deeply important. Science is not a finished book. It is a living process, constantly evolving, constantly correcting itself. Every unexplained place is not a failure of science. It's an invitation to explore further. The Bermuda Triangle challenges our understanding of oceanic forces. Death Valley's moving stones show how rare conditions can create unexpected behavior. Blood Falls forces us to redefine the limits of life. The Zone of Silence questions our assumptions about electromagnetic stability. And the Rechat structure proves that Earth's geological history is more complex than we imagined. Despite centuries of study, our planet still holds mysteries that refuse to be neatly explained. These places exist not in distant galaxies, but right here on Earth, mapped, visited, photographed, and yet still deeply misunderstood. They remind us that knowledge has limits, curiosity is essential, and the world is far more complex than it appears. If places like these still puzzle science, imagine how many secrets are still waiting to be discovered. And perhaps the greatest mystery of all is not what we haven't explained yet, but what we haven't even noticed.
If you want more such knowledge, then subscribe to our channel.